wants the cracked space from there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go grab that beer. It looks like Ian will be on it.
Yeah, he's thinking with his camera. But yeah, my daughter, we build the Lego set together, and then within the day, she destroys it and throws it in a big pile of the rest of the Legos instead of enjoying it for a few days.
Oh wait, which one? The youngest?
Evelyn,
Okay.
my oldest, yeah.
Well,
But
okay,
she loves the
your
process
other
of building it, but man, she loves tearing them apart. I think the longest one stayed up as a whole day.
Those who died were fortunate.
I just bought
was taken prisoner.
so like shortly after, because I just bought these like maybe a month before Christmas. So like a couple weeks after I bought those, I went and bought my niece some. I can't remember how many pieces it is, but it's like multiple animals.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, well, apparently she decided she didn't want to follow the rules, being all of 4 years. I think she's still a little before, but she decided to create her own. She decided to create her own monsters out of them.
That's fun.
And I got a picture of them somewhere. It was inventive.
Yeah.
Which is, basically what I used to do. Not create monsters, but you just kind of build your own thing out of it. I mean, you have little kits that, where you're supposed to build certain things, and then at some point you just build your own thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, even if you don't build what they want you to, it's still a creative tool.
Especially mass, multiple bits and pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Hi, Ian. Yo.
Something going to be a very harsh and unpleasant kind of business. And will, I think, require an extremely
We're all here.
harsh and unpleasant kind of man to see to it.
How you feeling, Ian?
Oh, we are here indeed. How's everyone doing tonight?
Yeah, good, dude.
A little worse for wear.
A little worse for wear, huh?
Yeah.
No, that was actually a question. If we were.
I'm fine.
I had like 2 beers while I watched the Super Bowl. I'm just tired.
I didn't watch the Super Bowl.
Oh,
It was
is
a
that
good-
tonight?
I did.
It was a good game.
No, they just had the halftime show for you.
Who
That
won?
was it.
Rams.
Rams.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah,
that very
Dr.
good.
Dre
of a Super-
wins.
Yeah, that halftime show was alright.
Yeah.
It was
No,
very
but, I mean-
it was very let's bring them out and have them sing a hit. Bring them out and sing a hit.
Yeah.
They could have done
ADHD.
They could have done something so
Yeah.
much more inventive than just that. But oh well.
I know everybody was crowing about it online. It was like, it was fine for what it was, but I mean,
And then Mary J. Blige's
it was-
lip syncing was pretty atrocious. So
yeah. But it was kind of nice that Dr. Dre was kind of the whole centerpiece of everything. Just because
and
it's
LA
pretty
won,
much
so I
all
guess it worked. Worked to their advantage. All right. Well, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about beer, because that's why we're here. This is the Couch Co-op Show, and every week we talk about beer. We pick a new beer. Each one of us, we go around the room. We pick a beer. We drink that beer. We talk about it. And this week, Nick gets to choose the beer. He came on last week since Aaron's away. They had a healthy baby girl. I don't think we knew that last time we were on the air, so that's new to the podcasting world for us, I guess. I don't know.
Yep.
The world in general. Aaron had a baby girl.
Raise a glass to Aaron, yeah.
Yeah. So
here's Aaron.
but since Aaron's away, Nick will play. So Nick,
Woo!
what beer are we drinking this week?
Old Chub by Oskar Blues.
I love the name.
What,
Well,
Old Chub or Oskar Blues?
Old Chub.
Blue Chub would
Yeah,
have been
they've
good.
got a lot of great names. Like, I like their Imperial Stout 1050, which
Oh,
is
that's theirs? Okay.
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
that's a good stout.
10.5%.
Yeah.
I did like that it was originally called HYA or Here's Your Arse.
Oh,
Yeah, when they were like developing it. Anyway, let's crack.
Yeah, I would like to have a beer.
3, 2, 1.
Let's crack them.
that's off.
That was a good pop.
So I'm expecting lots of malt, not much hops.
It smells good. I like the smell of this stuff. That's like a brown color.
Roasted,
Mhm.
moasted
Yeah.
malts and barley.
It's like an
Awesome.
8% beer, so I'm kind of expecting like
It
a
doesn't
heavier
taste
nut
it.
brown.
It doesn't taste like an 8% beer. It's definitely in. It's like on the lighter
Is that a good
side.
thing?
I mean,
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
this is not really my style of beer, but I guess the fact that it isn't overwhelmingly alcohol-y helps.
Yeah, it isn't. It's pretty well balanced. I could see it getting a bit sweet after a while if
Hmm.
you were drinking this all night.
Yeah, that's very pleasant. I like that. It's a
Yes.
Scotch ale.
Mm.
Does it have anything to do with Scotch? Is it aged in Scotch barrels?
I
No,
don't
it's a
believe
style of beer related to Scotland, actually.
Is that why?
that's.
Yeah, they tend to be very malt heavy and not very many hops, which is probably you can definitely pick up the sweetness of the malt in this, and there isn't too much bitterness going on.
I basically place it between like a brown ale and a stout. It's like in that middle and
Yeah.
area.
This would I'd almost call this like an imperial nut brown ale, like an imperial Newcastle
Oh.
brown, if you know what I mean. Like more of everything.
I hadn't thought about that, but yeah,
Yeah.
probably
It's
agree with
totally
that
a-
I
sentiment.
feel like that. Well, I suppose that Newcastle has more of a flavor though. This is kind of
True.
very. This is very light. Like the flavor is very chill. Like it's like
Yeah, it's not.
you hit it and then it's gone.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
that's
got a
why I
little
like
sweet
it.
aftertaste, and then it's kind of
Yeah. Can definitely feel the roasted malts in that. That's really good. I like that.
yeah. It doesn't have the body or the heaviness of a stout, but it has kind of it's very flavorful, like a good stout should be.
So Nick, why did you want to pick this beer?
Because I found it in Thriftway, even though I didn't find it this time when I was looking for it. But it used to be one of those things I would pick up every once in a while. It was different. And actually, Fearless Brewing out of Estacada also used to have a Scotch ale. I think that used to be their flagship, or their
Yeah, I
very,
think
or at least
so.
their,
Yeah, I
their
remember
first.
that one. It's in the black cans. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it's called though.
Yeah, good question. I
But
guess
that
we'll
was
figure that out.
I
We'll figure that out.
remember that was
Sorry, go
probably
ahead.
the first Scotch ale. Sorry.
I was going to say, well, you guys can figure that out next time whenever it pops up on the show, if they're even making it anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't paid attention to that brewery for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I know it was an Estacada. I know I spent some time out there, but that's about all the connection I have to it.
And
But
Dave had some history on it. What were you talking about? The name, the original name?
Oh, it was what was it?
here's your ass.
Here's your ass, yeah. And this one,
And they
this
changed
is
it.
one a medal.
Did they say why they changed it?
No, it was just that was its development name, if you want, and I don't think they thought. Not that Old Chub is necessarily a better
Right.
name.
Yeah.
Well, I can read the paragraph here on the website about
Let's
the
do
beer.
it. Let's talk about. Let's talk. What
Yeah.
does it say?
Let's see. There's a word I can't pronounce. Old Chub is a Brobe Ding Ni En celebration of aggressively shattering the status quo. Jaw dropping Scottish strong ale strays far from the convention, as it's brewed with a recklessly bodacious amount of malted barley and specialty grains, and a dash of beechwood smoked malt. It features semi sweet flavors of cocoa and coffee, which I don't catch, and a wee bit of smoke. It's a powerful head turning trip for malt heads and folks who think they don't dig dark beer.
And it's interesting to note that the IBU is 13.
Huh.
Oh, on the
Yeah.
can it says 20.
I definitely
Well,
don't pick up any
I've-
coffee on this, though. That's for sure.
you're not going to be able to see it. If you look it up on the website underneath what Jared just wrote, it has the IBU. Or hopefully, maybe I'm.
But I think on the can it says 20.
Well, I mean,
Yep.
Jared, what does it say on? Are you still on the website?
30. Yeah, it says 30, but
We'll put a different
30.
number.
it might. I wonder if it's different in the Colorado brewery or something like that.
Maybe it's
Yeah, 'cause
30.
they-
Maybe I just, but I swear
Could be.
it was like in the. I don't know. I saw it earlier. Maybe it was.
Yeah.
Did you?
I don't
maybe
see it.
Maybe it's on the 6-pack box.
Maybe it's on the box.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But
It's just
I like this.
Yeah.
But you know, Jared, what was something they said earlier about like the? I mean, this beer was it 2005.
yeah, when it was.
I
Originally
feel like
released.
there's so many other beers nowadays that are doing this way more aggressively. This is like the Diet Coke of Scotch ales. I feel like, or Coors Light.
You don't,
It's just
you don't see
nowadays.
that many Scotch ales, though.
No, but when you
honestly.
do, I feel
Yeah.
like just like a classic lager gets hopified or
Mhm.
destroyed. Like I feel like this is like a beer that has its original platform, and then nowadays that platform is destroyed by either hops or way too much alcohol or.
Yeah, this is kind of a style in of itself. Like IPA can be quite a wide style, pale ale can be quite a wide style, but when you're doing a Scottish ale,
That's not what I
the-
meant, but
there's not much. I mean, you can only make it malty. I know that's not what you meant, Ian, and I'll continue, but yeah, but there's only so much you can do and play with the malts when you haven't got a lot of hops to balance it, and there's certain things that need to be in it to make it a Scotch ale. One of which is smoked malt, so
right,
which
and
is quite a beefy flavor.
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's not a lot of area you can go with a lager, or an ale, or this, but IPAs. There's so many things in that area where they like to increase things to make them, and because that's the hotness, they start adding it.
subgenres.
Right, they start creating subgenres of these beers, and then but they still label them Scotch ale or lager.
I know what
or
you mean.
something, and then you
expecting
taste
a
it,
hoppy Scotch ale.
you're gonna get like your mind blown for something else that you're not really wanting because of the genre crossing or the but like the other Scotch ale that you had mentioned, Nick. I don't know how old that one is, but the Fearless one, is that more in profile with this one?
Well, gosh, it's been years since I've
Yes,
had
it is. I've had it, and
but
it's similar to this. It's
Yeah.
again, I want to say it's 7.5%, 8%, and it's very malty. Not very many hops. I think it's just called Fearless Scottish Ale. It's not like
no.
That
It's
sounds
not-
right.
it's not fancy. It's not got like a fancy name or anything.
Right. Anyone have the history on the brewery? I also know Nick had dropped an article that the brewery had just been purchased by Monster Energy Drink.
Yes, which was formerly known as Hanson.
But-
But yeah, they. So I didn't actually know that Oskar Blues was already owned by another company that also owns cigars. Cigar
Yeah.
City Brewing out of Florida.
Something like that. Whoever bought them,
Yes,
because
that makes sense.
Monster bought Oskar Blues through the group had already purchased them. Yeah. Monster bought a whole shit ton of beers, dude.
Oh.
Which is
Yeah,
funny.
Yeah,
you
that's
usually
interesting.
see these breweries, they'll pick up like Rockstar or something, but you forget that Monster is like a huge company versus
Yeah.
it being a small company. Like Red Bull's big, they buy things versus anyway.
Maybe they just need to find somebody to brew their new what I'm guessing Monster Seltzer.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I certainly
Monster 21.
I certainly hope not.
Well,
Yeah.
Oscar Blues
Yeah,
started as
tell
a
us about
grill.
Oskar Blues.
It started as a grill and brew restaurant in Colorado, in '97, and he started brewing beer in the basement of the thing 2 or 3 years later. But he didn't start like putting out the beer until a couple of years after that, and then he was one of the first people.
2002.
to put it in cans. Although there are other breweries that had put beers in cans before that, but usually
But some
it was a contract deal. They'd give the beer to the canning company, and the canning company would can it. Whereas I think he
and
was one of the first to.
and some of those breweries that have actually closed down too, I believe. I,
Yeah,
might be reading some of the same stuff that I was looking up earlier when I was doing a
yeah,
little bit of research that I forgot about.
yeah, and I mean, and I think for quite a long time they were one of the biggest microbreweries that was putting their beer all in cans, no glass.
Yeah, yeah, they don't do anything in glass, which
Yeah,
is
but Oscar Blues is a really nice pale ale. I've had that before, and then we
mm,
I've had a couple of the 1050 and the other ones, and they're very good. They're also
mhm.
I think one of the first craft breweries to do the East Coast West Coast Texas thing, where they have like a brewery on each coast, or close to each
Oh,
coast, and then one in the center. Because if you look on the can, there's if it, it's the same can they use, but there's Longmont, Colorado, which is the original.
North Carolina and
Breathed, North
Texas.
Carolina, and Texas, yeah.
and so they actually had their own breweries on both coasts, as opposed to doing like contract, like what Sam Adams used to do
Yeah,
at
they set up
Winehards.
they set up in a similar way, I think, to Lagunitas before they got bought out, because I think they had a brewery on the other coast.
Jason
Yeah, and I
Wolford
think
said he'd share his recipes with you, Dave, and then we could open up 8-Bit in Portland.
Oh, nice.
mm,
I already have the Cornier of Lime. I've brewed that a couple of times, and I think I have one or two of his others, but I haven't got any of his new
But if
stuff.
you
But
wanted to go to work, you want to just do something new,
he'll just charge us a royalty of $1 a pint sold.
I doubt it, but maybe.
Hmm. I think there's already an 8-bit brewing though in the US. That's the only problem.
yeah,
Well,
there
no, he
is.
already dealt with that. There was something he dealt with about that.
Yeah, but I think it's probably.
Can we get around it because he already has it over there?
I don't know. I think it would be
You might
maybe
have to call it something different.
yeah. You have to,
Like,
needless to say, you'd spend some money talking to a lawyer about it before you did anything.
They're a tiny microbrew. We're like going global.
Hmm.
We'd win.
Yeah.
then maybe do 16-bit and then have
Yeah,
the appropriate
Yeah, right.
SNES graphics.
Totally.
yeah, the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Those
Anyway,
graphics look better anyway.
I like this beer. It's going down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy going. Though I'm
Yes.
looking at their webpage and I see a beer I really want to try. It's not out yet, but it's there. They have a series beer called BA21 Volume 7 will come out sometime,
Oh
hopefully
yeah.
soon. It's an imperial stout. They say here's the description: an imperial sweet stout aged in whiskey barrels with graham crackers, chocolate, and cherry.
Oh,
Oh,
that sounds
that
good.
sounds
Mm.
good.
Although last night or the night before, I think it was, I went to the tap house and the Fort George stout we had with the last episode with Erin. I can't
Ugh,
remember what it was
yeah.
called. They had a version of that, and it was called a pastry stout. And apparently, they get
Waves of
like
silence or something? Silence?
yeah,
Something
Waves of
silent?
Yeah.
Silence. They get the pastry for cinnamon rolls, and they
Oh,
put it in the fermenter, or somewhere in the brew process. So it was like
oh,
that beer, except with a bit of cinnamony roll going on.
in-
It was really nice.
interesting. Yeah, that sounds awesome. All right. So,
Hey, good news. Monster doesn't need to release a seltzer because Oscar Blues already has one.
all right.
Well,
Yeah, they
who else did Monster buy in that deal? They bought a shit ton of stuff. I
I
feel
didn't
like.
look up. I mean, I was just looking up the Oscar Blues stuff
Oh,
just because that was kind of pertinent. I didn't see who else that they've acquired, but
it was in that article you posted.
well, listen, I skim sometimes. I'm very busy between working
And posting on Discord
and sleeping,
and sleeping.
kind of.
It's they actually agreed to buy craft beer and hard seltzer maker Canarchy Craft Brewery Collective LLC.
Yeah, I think that was the parent company of Oscar Blues and that Florida brewery that I think it is
Yeah.
Cigar City.
Cigar
Yeah.
City, Oscar Blues, Deep Ellum, Perrin Brewing, Squatters, and Wasatch brands to its beverage portfolio. So
Wasquat. that's probably why you see those everywhere. Because I've actually seen Cigar City around, and I've seen
Well, basically, what that article was
Yeah.
about
the
is
other
like the
ones. Yeah.
next big purchase of all the microbrews. Like how
Yes, it's another.
the first round everyone was against it, and now everyone's kind of okay with it.
Yeah,
330
like when
million.
Goose Island was purchased and 10 Barrel, people were up in arms, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
then
I remember that, and Widmer and those guys.
But now these
which
other ones are gonna happen, and it's like no one cares. They're making it. It's like, oh come on.
Isn't that the American dream now? You start something and then just sell out for it.
You know, when I
Sell
was
out.
reading that article, it's like I feel like Deschutes should have sold out because like now you just see them struggling to come up with another beer that's a hit, but they just keep making these shit beers. Yet all
well,
they really need to make is Mirror Pond and Black Butte.
I was actually almost going to circle back to, or I kind of want to circle back to something you were saying about how this pretty much hasn't changed since 2005, and I'm wondering since they're kind of one of these older breweries that, I mean, they're not as old as like Deschutes or Rogue or anything, but some of them kind of get set in their ways and don't really innovate much with
But that's okay.
brewing. I mean, yeah, I mean, like
I mean, think
like this the way it is. I mean, the fact that it's not aggressive or in your face.
Think
You
about
know,
this,
it's
Nick. If
kinda-
Lagunitas hadn't sold out, but Pliny or whoever the brewer from Pliny
Russian
did sell
River,
it, Russian
yeah.
did do, Lagunitas would be the beer you'd be chasing to at John's Market, and it wouldn't be the
Yeah,
other way
true.
around. But literally, they're the same. They're kind of really the same beer. Like, they're both really good. They're just IPAs, but like, it's just because one chose not to and make it really hard for you to get. The other one chose to sell out, but it still is the same quality of
Mhm.
beer.
Yeah, well, I think Russian
Mm.
River doesn't really. They bottle stuff, but they don't really bottle it for distribution. You know, it's more just to sell a couple of bottles in the pub, really.
Well,
You
they
know,
kind of. Well, that's not
it-
100% true.
it's not 100% true, but they're not. Their business model is obviously not like.
Right. It's like it's like a trap door or something.
Yeah, it's
They're
not.
not expanding.
Yeah, they don't plan to. But I'm saying is like you could
No,
have
I-
someone swoop in and buy a microbrewery like that, and then it becomes a different story for them. You know.
Yeah, the only difference between them and Lagunitas is the owners of Lagunitas took the money.
Yeah, I take
Yeah.
the money.
Because I'm sure Russian River
Sure.
have been offered plenty of offers to buy the brewery.
I wouldn't doubt that.
But that's
yeah.
where I'm saying like Deschutes probably should have, because back then it was probably a premium. Now there's too many other better beers now that their asking price is never going to go up. It's going to go down. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mirror Pond and Black Butte were at a premium at a certain point, and now that they held out, but they have never come up with a better beer since then, really. So I don't know. So
Their
you're
moment
fucked,
is
Deschutes.
past.
You're
Ah.
done.
I know when we've talked about a
Mm.
brewery, though, starting a brewery, it's kind of like that's why I always feel like you need at least 5 great recipes, if not 10, because you need to hold back a couple of those recipes, or have them either as seasonal releases or and you need to have a variety of styles. I mean, yeah, you can make a good successful brewery just brewing IPAs, or you can brewing
Hey, Boneyard.
yeah,
Yeah.
brewing the popular styles. But I must admit, it's like at some point, it's hard to keep innovating.
You just become a Me Too brewery.
Yeah, it's very hard. Very hard
Maybe
to
not
stand out.
me too, but
Yeah, a brewery for therapists.
Yeah.
Well, what do we think of this beer?
I like this beer, but it has dried out my mouth. Something wrong.
Something rotten.
I feel like it's like sucked all the moisture out of my mouth.
Well, if I ever had to
part of
go
the plan.
down on an old man, I know what an old Chub tastes like now.
Huh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh,
Maybe-
bum, bum, bum,
Maybe that's why you
And-
want the happy
an
ending.
old Scottish man.
an old Scottish man, an old
Yeah.
Scottish Chub. I am
This beer
surprised.
went down
I am
real easy.
surprised it's not called Little Chub.
Oh,
Maybe
oh,
that's the 5%
oh,
version.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Chub Light.
You're like,
Chub Light.
Or
they really need
or
to
maybe-
do that. Would be great. Wouldn't it? Chub light.
or maybe they'll come out with a bigger can and then they'll call that a big chub.
Big
Yeah.
Chub.
Call that the Magnum Chub.
Magnum Chub.
Magnum.
Magnum Chub.
Yeah.
So when the legalization occurred in Colorado, they came out with like this ad that
Stoned
said,
Chub.
well, no, it was just Oscar, and I think it was like a can of Dale's Pale, but it said weed, like instead of like WE''D, it was WE''ED. We'd
Yeah.
like to wish you a Merry Christmas, and it kind of had a crushed can with a little Christmas tree that looked like a thing
Yeah.
of weed, like sitting
That's funny.
bent in a can. Yeah, no, it was great. I loved it, but I mean,
Weed.
Magnum would probably be right up their alley if they ever did release this in a larger can. Anyway,
Do you think because it's plaid pants, that's why it's like old? Like,
well, you know what's funny is when I first started drinking it was actually in a green can.
yeah, I saw the green can.
It.
When I googled it the first time,
Yeah.
I saw the green can, and you can still get it in the green can,
I do like the can
which is
design.
weird to
It's
me.
Yeah.
How old is that? Is this
Um,
something like this age well?
Probably not.
Probably not too well because it's in a can, but it is almost at the alcohol percentage where it's probably going to keep pretty well for a bit longer than a light beer. I'm just looking to see when this one was on the. I can't read that on the bottom.
Yeah, mine looks like November of either 21 or 01.
Mine was November
Well,
21.
can't be 01 because it wasn't.
Mine was canned November 21.
Yeah,
Mine was smudged, so I have no idea.
yeah.
Does it say
mine too.
sounds like a plan? Our chum on the bottom.
Our chum,
Yeah,
Sharmo.
yeah.
Let's thumb it up. Let's give it. Give it
Yeah,
the chubs. How
I
many
give
chubs
this
up?
one a thumbs
How many
up,
chubs?
yeah.
I'm gonna give it a middle chub,
Yeah.
Yeah, so am I.
semi chub.
I would buy this again. Yeah, I like this a lot.
I'll drink it. I'm not buying it.
I find it a little too cloying after just one can. So I imagine after two, I'd want something just different.
That's 3 chubs up on old Chub.
Yeah.
Nick DeWin, what game did you think long and hard about this week to pair this beer with?
Braveheart.
Braveheart.
Actually, no. I was gonna stick more with its Colorado roots and South Park Stick of Truth.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, good
I
call.
dig it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish it was called
old
Little Chub because then you could have Little Squeaker.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Old Chub does sound like some kind of pun that they would use, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Good
Mhm.
choice. Good choice.
Good choice.
All right. Well,
I do.
that's another show for the Couch Co-op. You can find us on all the podcast outlets.
Hey, Ian.
Yes.
What beer are you gonna pick?
Oh yes. What beer am I gonna pick? Thank you, Jared.
Yes,
Too many
sir.
things bouncing on my head. Since Aaron's here and he wasn't a fan of this beer, I decided while in his absence I would pick a beer he doesn't care for so much. And so while we're gonna pick Portland's Best Reserve PBR, we're gonna do it up, and yeah, that's next week's beer. Delicious. I know you guys are all excited
Oh boy.
to chug a delicious PBR. And
In
you know,
the
I
right
will
setting,
say
it
this:
works.
I started drink. I hadn't drank it in a very long time, and I drank it. I was like, "This is not how I remember it tasting." So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it was not what I was expecting.
I haven't had it in a long time.
Anyway, thank you, Jared. Anyway, podcast. Find it on everywhere podcasts are sold. You can also see our video version, which is super cool and fun to watch on youtube.com/milkmanpictures.
Those in a pint can.
We are a little ahead of schedule, so we have episodes that are in the hopper. So this one is coming out. As I talk to you guys, it's coming out later. But people listening have no clue, so it doesn't really matter. Let's see. I want to thank Dave, Jared, and Nick for joining me here on the couch
Yeah.
for Couch Co-op. For Couch Co-op, Jared, what do we do?
Be responsible.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Drink beer. We drink the beer so you don't have to.
Wonder if Monster's going to come out with their own line
Yeah.
Monster
for
beer?
drinking.
Probably
Yeah.
Oh, that's not
own
good.
tagline.
That's a bad idea.